Are you feeling lost in your journey to learn astrology? Do you find yourself aimlessly trying to piece together information through podcasts and YouTube videos? Well, you're not. We've all been there. Many aspiring astrologers and enthusiasts alike have faced the same challenge. The challenge being not having a clear roadmap to learning astrology. Whether you dream to become an astrologer or you just simply want to read your grandmother's birth chart, this video is for you so that you can be able to know if you have any gaps in learning and opportunities where you can apply the things you've learned, as well as to expand your greater astrology community. Before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe. I would appreciate the support. I also do natal chart readings on my website. So if you just go to fourthhouselb.com, I have various services. I also provide tutoring. So if you ever need tutoring on astrology, I can help you, which this kind of lines up with that. So if you ever need that, let me know. Let's dive in. So this video is part one of a 3-part video series. In this video, we're going to cover all you need to know to have a solid foundation in astrology. We're going to cover basics, and we're just going to go through an outline of the things you need to know so you know what you need to learn and research and study. So this is all for self-taught astrologers, because ultimately I'm going to be touching on actual certification programs in part 3, I believe. So look out for that. So we're going to be covering basics, including zodiac signs, houses, elements, planetary influences, and much more. Part 2 is going to equip you with all the right tools and resources. So we're going to explore online platforms. We're going to explore books, apps that can enhance your astrological studies. And the final part of the series is the actual application of astrology. We're going to dive into how do we use it in our lives and how do we help other people? How do we become of service through astrology? How are we going to connect with the astro community at large? And how are we going to take astrology to the next level in our lives if we want to become practitioners of astrology? This video will have a lot of visual aids, so make sure to screenshot anything that catches your eye so you can use it for a later reference. Part 1. So we're going to get into part 1 and we're going to just go through this outline that I created. So you can go to 4th House LB. I'll leave a link down below. I have a printout. I'm probably going to put it somewhere on the screen. And I'm also probably going to put a link up above and also put a link down below. This is going to be your checklist to make sure that you're actually thinking about the right things as you are learning. The 4 sections I had, it was under foundations, zodiac signs, planets, houses, and aspects are all in one. Because once you get that really strong foundation of the zodiac signs, you're going to be able to build off of that. And then you have extras. So first things first, for the foundations, determine why you want to learn astrology. I think that's really important, because if someone asks you, why is it important to you and how is it real to you? Why does it do you feel connected to it? That's going to be really important as you're trying to explain things and talk to people. Really just sit with that for a moment and think about that before you go further. And if you have that answer, then cool. You're already ahead. Also, understand the history of astrology. Know where it comes from, the tradition of astrology throughout the years. I do have a video on my shorts on that, and you can always check that out if you want an overall view, but one day I will do a deep dive on that topic. Explore the different schools of astrology. I think this is very important because people think there's just one type of astrology. People don't even realize how deep astrology can be, but there's different schools of thought. You have the evolutionary astrology, you have the traditional Hellenistic astrology, you have the Uranian, vocational, pet astrology, medical astrology, all these, there's so many types. So understand which ones there are, and so that you can maybe see, you can keep in mind who you want to follow or what types of styles you want to get into. Also, understand how you cast a natal chart. I think that's really important, being able to know how to cast one. I have a link somewhere. I'll try to put a link up above on how to cast a chart. Then also learn the glyphs. I think obviously it's kind of like a flashcard situation. Know the glyphs, know what every symbol looks like. And so once you have that down, you can start looking. Again, I'm sure people bounce around. They know the zodiac signs, they know whatever, but just knowing those types of that is a really good foundation to start with. And so now we're going to go to the zodiac signs. Be able to name all of them. Don't just name your big three. Really understand what are all of the zodiac signs. What do they look like? What are the glyphs to those zodiac signs? It's really important to know. Also, know the associated symbols and how they play into how the sign is expressed. So, Leo, the lion, proud, the king status. When you start applying that symbolism to the sign, you're really going to start understanding and being able to flush out what are the characteristics of those signs, and it can stick with you a little bit better. Understand the elements, the modality, and the polarity of each sign. I won't get into each topic because I probably do videos on this, but just look into those, understand it's super important. Understand what time of the year, season/dates each sign occurs. And this information is really helpful as you continue to learn about the expression of the zodiac sign. And so you're going to be applying the seasonal nature to the qualities of how the zodiac sign is expressed. So I'll give you an example because this is a really important concept to grasp. Air signs are known for their need for connection with others and their need to share ideas. Okay, so Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So how would spring air sign differ from a air sign that occurs in the middle of the winter? Aquarius is that sign that occurs in the middle of the winter. And so there can be a little bit of a distance, a little bit of a coldness that is not like the other air signs. So that's what you need to do. You need to apply the seasonal nature of each zodiac sign and try to understand it through the lens of how it is expressed. So now we're on the planets and houses and aspects section. So now we're and mind you, that zodiac, getting the zodiac down is so key. It will take a long time, but once you understand it and really get that, because I think people underestimate how much significations and symbolism goes into the zodiac, you must nail that. So next we're going to look at make sure that you understand the basic characteristics and influences of each planet. Now we're adding another layer, right? First we have the zodiac sign, which is the general flavor that is applied to these planets. And now you have the planets. What do these planets mean? And each sign has a ruler, a planetary ruler. So you're also going to try to learn what signs go with what planets. So for example, Taurus is ruled by Venus. Aries is ruled by Mars, but sometimes we have co-rulership. So Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto. So what does that mean? How does that work? How does that look in a person's chart? These are the things you're going to start asking. Every time you learn something, by the way, I always highlight that you need to think about how that applies to your chart. That's why your chart is so important, because you're going to go back to your chart and say, I just learned this thing. How does this resonate? Does this resonate with me in my chart? Does this make sense? Because you know yourself the best. And so sometimes the best learning experience is yourself. And then understand the associations of the 12 houses. So now we're adding another layer, right? So we put the planetary associations. Now let's talk about the house associations. We're going to talk about what signs are they normally associated with? What planets are normally associated with certain houses as well? You're also going to think about, what does each house represent? What is a house, right? A house is the area of a person's life. So that's what you're going to look at. And so you're going to try to integrate all these things and see how this works out in your life. Also, you're going to understand the angles, ascendant, midheaven, the IC or the nadir, and the descendant. You need to understand these. These are the backbone of the chart. They have a huge impact on a person's personality. So definitely you want to know these and what they mean and the distinctions between them. Also understand the difference between the sun, moon, and rising. That is going to be really huge, especially as someone who is trying to will probably talk to people more casually. They will know that their sun, moon, and rising. They might not know their Venus sign. They might not know their Saturn sign, but they will know their sun, moon, and rising. And that can be a really good opportunity to talk to someone. Also to understand what you're dealing with. The moon is your subjective reality. The rising is how you get things done in the service of your sun, your ego, your identity. So that type of distinction needs to be made, because a lot of people don't really know what the difference is. So just make sure you understand that. Understanding the meaning of the major 5 aspects, but I put a little bit more than the 5 aspects. So you're talking about trine, sextiles, conjunction, quincunx, and semi-sextile. I like those. Some people would argue that you just start with the first 5. I throw in those 2 as well. Understand what Chiron and the lunar nodes of the moon mean in a chart. People always put Chiron to the side because no one wants to bring up asteroids too early in a learning experience for someone. But I actually think that Chiron is one of the most impactful asteroids to use. I don't understand why you would not use it. You could really understand a lot about their kryptonite, the things that are difficult about their personality through those 2 points. So now you're going to start putting all that together. You're going to put your signs, the planets, the houses, and the aspects together. And you're going to start trying to play with those things. You're going to pull the different levers and look at things in different combinations. You're going to say, okay, well, the sun and the moon are trining each other. What does that mean? The sun is in Leo and the moon is in Aries. What does that mean? So you're going to start breaking it down like that. And we can do a video on that. Just tell me in the comments if you want me to break it down and explain to you how I would research aspects and things like that. And some extra topics are to understand the transits, their influences on your natal chart. That's obviously, we're going to always look at eclipses that are the hugest events in a chart or transit. Then you're probably going to look at inner planet retrogrades. Those are going to be another set of things that you might want, transit that you want to track. Any nodal shifts from one sign axis to another, that is a significant event that you would want to track. And for that, always go back in time. So if you're looking at a Mars transit, look at the last time that Mars transit hit that place that you're looking at. That you're looking at the Mars transiting your 5th house or something. Go back in time and try to find when the last time it was, say it was in Aquarius. When's the last time Mars was in Aquarius? What was going on in your life? What themes are going on in your life? So you can just think about those things in that way. And that's how you can learn about transits, by doing retrospection. Best ones are longer transits, like a Pluto. I love Pluto transits and I love eclipse transits because they're so intense. And the Pluto ones steep a little bit longer. But if you look at where it was in your chart, for example, it was in my 4th house. So you could say, well, what has happened since Pluto entered my 4th house? What has changed in the themes of family? Looking at eclipses and going back in time where eclipses have happened and were there great big events that happened in those places in your chart. So just that's how I play with the transits, is always doing retrospection to understand the themes that were happening then and that could potentially happen and come up this time or in the future. And then also understand lunar phases. That's such a huge thing, especially when you're talking about manifestation and setting intentions. That's huge. Also, just understanding where you're at so you don't try to work against your emotional readiness, work uphill. If you're not ready to do something, there's no need to do it. So sometimes the lunar phases can help you navigate what's the best energetic energy space to initiate something, or to manifest something or sow seeds for something. And then special chart points like Vesta, Ceres. I really like Nemesis lately. I've been playing with Nemesis. It's been an interesting asteroid. So any type of, lot of spirit and lot of fortune, different types of lots for my Hellenistic girlies. I start playing with those types of chart points just to see what you can get from that, and then explore common aspect patterns. So not only do you have aspects which are just the relationship between the 2 planets, are they happy, are they harmonious, is it a conjunction, where they're merging, like what is it? Well, you could also have something called aspect patterns where it can create an actual shape. So one that comes up in a lot of my true crime natal chart readings is a fixed cross, where basically there are 4 planets creating a square in fixed signs. So certain aspects can create different shapes. There's kites, there's grand trines, there's all types of shapes, mystic triangle, mystic rectangles. I always call it triangles, I don't know why. Mystic rectangles, all types of things. And if you learn those, you can understand sometimes the underpinning of what's going on in a person's chart as well. So something to consider. So that concludes my video. Comment down below if I missed anything as far as certain topics that should be touched on for just a novice casual astrology enthusiast. So let me know what you think in the comments down below, and look out for part 2 of this series where we're going to talk about resources and tools. I love those. I love resources and videos and all that stuff, podcasts. I'm going to go through books and all of that. So make sure to look out for part 2. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.